Ready to elevate your elegance game? I gotcha. In this video, I'm sharing 15 things classy women know. From the power of eloquent words to mastering dining etiquette. These are timeless inside tips that'll help you to exude class and sophistication for a lifetime. Best of all, they're easy to do, and yet they make all the difference in how others perceive you. After all, class really just boils down to how you hold yourself and the manner in which you treat others, not the zeros in your bank account. Sit back, relax, and let's do this. Ladies, I've said it before and I will say it again. Our community is not about being somebody that you are not or putting on airs. Simply put, it's all about polishing the diamond you already are in a community where it's safe to ask, make mistakes, and grow. Just as our moms taught us to say please, thank you, and not to blow your nose at the table, having class and elegance paves the way for all the good things that you deserve in life. The guidelines that I'm sharing with you today will help you to navigate the finer things in life with confidence, grace, and elegance, because that's what you are all about. Let's start. Number 1, not all bubbly is champagne. A few months ago, Oliver and I were at an Italian restaurant that we love. Halfway through the meal, another couple was seated next to us. The server asked for their drink order, to which the woman said, "Ooh, I'd love some champagne, please." The server nicely said to her, "We have a nice selection of sparkling wines. Prosecco, Moscato, Asti Spumante." She looked confused but ordered a glass of Prosecco. When it came, she took a sip and she leaned into her husband and said, "This is champagne." Here's the deal on that, ladies. Only sparkling wine produced in the Champagne region of France can be called champagne. Sparkling wine produced anywhere else cannot be called champagne. Champagne falls under the category sparkling wine. There are several types of sparkling wine. Here are some of the most popular with which you may be most familiar. Clément. Clément are sparkling wines produced in France but outside of the region of Champagne. Prosecco, that is sparkling wine out of Italy, specifically the northeastern region. Light, fresh, fruity, it generally has a crisp acidity and is often more affordable than champagne. You'll usually see it at celebrations, casual gatherings, and it's usually what is used to make your mimosas and your bellinis. You may also see Moscato and Asti Spumante. These originate in Piedmont, Italy. Heads up, ladies, make an effort to use the right term. If you are dining Italian, as in an Italian restaurant, know that you'll be enjoying a glass of Prosecco, Asti Spumante, Moscato, because those are Italian sparkling wines. Very rarely, as in I have yet to come across it, will you ever find champagne in a legit Italian restaurant. Cava. We're talking Spain sparkling wines. Primarily produced in Catalonia, Spain, although it can be made in other regions. It often has a fresh, fruity taste and tends to be a lot less complex than champagne, making it a more affordable option. Cava can often be found in a variety of different restaurant types, but especially those focusing on Spanish cuisine, tapas, Mediterranean, casual dining, brunch spots, or wine bars will typically carry a selection of sparkling wines. If this is the case, it'll be categorized on the menu as sparkling wines with the selections underneath. Instead of saying, "Can I get?" try swapping it out for "May I have?" It's just a small, minuscule tweak, but it has so much more elegance. For example, at a restaurant, the server turns to you and says, "And for you, madame?" Instead of, "Yeah, can I get?" Instead, try this. "Yes, may I have the beet salad to start, the halibut, and the roasted asparagus, please?" Instead of, "Can I get another glass of wine?" try, "May I have another glass of wine, please?" It's just a small adjustment that reads a little more polished. Same you, different approach. Yeah versus please. When asked if you'd like another glass of wine, more water if you're ready to order, never say yeah, yup, nope, uh-huh, or any type of slang just for obvious reasons. Instead, it's always yes, yes please, no, no thank you. Example, "May I get you another glass of wine?" "Yes, thank you," or "Yes please." Use what feels most natural to you. The point is just to avoid slang. Complimentary versus free. Notice, ladies, that with any higher end establishment, whether it's dining, hotel, or a product, the word free is almost never used. Ever. It's always complimentary. Now that I say this, you're gonna really key in on it. Free minibar snacks becomes complimentary minibar. Free Wi-Fi becomes complimentary Wi-Fi. Free bread becomes complimentary bread. You get the idea. When in doubt, I never ask, is this free? I might ask, is this complimentary? Same you, different approach. Ladies, look at it this way. Anytime you're going someplace fancy like fine dining, or you're going to a spa or a resort, notice the wording that the staff uses when interacting with you. And I say that because these types of establishments really train their staff. They train them on words to use and not to use. You're going up at a fancy hotel. They never say, can I help you? They always say, how may I assist you? Which brings us to number 5, assistance versus help. Can I get some help versus would you mind assisting me for a minute? You're at Crate and Barrel. You see a delicious blue fuzzy blanket at the very top shelf that you can't reach. Instead of, hey, can you help me? Try, would you mind assisting me? I'd like to see that blue blanket. You'll generally notice that staff at very mid-range places will say, can I help you? Or how can I help you? But when dealing with higher end businesses, it's always, how may I assist you? Use assist or assistance in a phrase that feels most natural to you. I'm just sharing what I usually say because that's what tends to roll off my tongue easier. The point is, assist or assistance is just a little more polished than the word help. Same you, different approach. Okay, let's talk dining out, ladies, because I get a lot of questions on dining out at a fancy restaurant, and I'm always here to help you. When being seated at a restaurant or leaving a restaurant, the lady always walks first. Always. If you're with a large group, the most senior woman walks first. And we're talking if it's really obvious, like you're with your mom or your grandmother. Now listen, if you're with your friend who is 6 months older than you, don't push her to the front. Oh, my sister and I do that. Number 7, your handbag. Where do you put it? I get this question a lot too, and for good reason. It's not obvious, right? Most restaurants, in my opinion, do not look at the dining experience from a woman's perspective. And I kind of think this is a big no-no because I don't know about you, but we only go places if I want to go there in terms of dinner. From cobbly entrances that are ankle busters, especially if you're in heels, to slippery marble floors, which I have fallen a few times. A cocktail may have been involved. I digress. There's no clear place to put your bag. So here's the deal. Unless you're in Europe, which they have gotten it right, let me tell you, they always provide a small little stool next to your chair in order to put your bag. That aside, there are 3 acceptable places to put your handbag when you're dining out. Number 1, in your lap. Not comfortable to me, but that's an option. On the chair, this is usually what I do. There's usually space on either side of me to store my small evening clutch. Number 3, on the floor. I really don't like this, but what else are you supposed to do? If you've got a larger bag, like a tote or a day bag, you can place it on the floor right next to you. Just make sure that it's slightly under the table so that staff and people walking by aren't tripping over it or trying to get around it. Ideally, if there's an empty chair at the table, use that. Or if you're in a booth and you can put it right next to you, that's another option. Where do you not place your bag? On the table. I know it would be more convenient, but it's considered poor etiquette to do so. The napkin. After you and your bag are seated, the first thing that you want to do is immediately unwrap your napkin and place it in your lap. If you're wearing a dark color, most fine dining restaurants will ask if you would like a black napkin. This is simply so that the white doesn't transfer onto your black outfit. If they don't offer and you would like a dark napkin, just discreetly ask, "Pardon me, may I have a black napkin, please?" "Yes, of course. Thank you." Elbows on the table, yes or no? Resting your elbows lightly on the table is perfectly fine before service begins, while having drinks, in between courses, and certainly once plates have been removed. Never, ever while dinner is served and while other people are eating. The order of ordering. The server should always take your order from the right, serve you from the left. When taking an order, he or she should always start with the ladies first. Always. And if it's totally obvious, he or she should always start by taking the order of the senior lady first. When we're out with my parents, I can't help myself. I always prompt, "Mom, would you like to place your order?" I should probably just leave it to the server, but unless the server takes lead right away, I take it. Another question that I've gotten quite a bit, do I need to order through? Ordering through, meaning when the waiter comes to take your order, do you have to order your appetizers and your main all at the same time? Okay, so it used to be said that you should allow a fine dining restaurant the courtesy of spacing your meal appropriately, but that really no longer is the custom for us, and I think for most people, when we're dining out, we're there to relax. So generally, we like to have a cocktail first and just enjoy our evening out. Sometimes we order an appetizer with our cocktail. Now, that also assumes that you're not sitting there for 2 hours before you order your main. In a nutshell, it's really your call. You do not have to order through. Side note, ladies, isn't this top cute? Look, it comes with a superhero cape. I wore this because I just received it and it's the holiday season and I thought some of you would like it. I just put the link down in the description. Sharing is caring. Remember, ladies, I am just sharing a few simple tweaks to polish the person that you already are. How I phrase something is really just what feels most natural to me. If it feels good to you too, feel free to copy it directly, but if it doesn't, take the concept and reword it to suit what feels best and most natural to you. All right, let me give you an example of ordering in fine dining or a nice restaurant. And for you, miss, yes, I'd like to start with the beet, orange, and pistachio salad, followed by the halibut and the roasted asparagus, please. Of course, and the halibut comes served with the beurre blanc sauce. Is that okay? Thank you for letting me know. No beurre blanc sauce, please. 3 very simple basic things to note here, ladies. I say yes, not yeah, thank you, not thanks, and I usually end every statement or request with please. Number 13, I'm sitting on my cape. Eating bread. If you've ever gotten confused over what side is your bread dish and where your drink is, this is what a friend of mine does. B, D, and then you cross. So your bread plate is on this side and your drink is on that side. That's an easy way to remember. So if you see somebody at a restaurant going like this, you know what they're doing. One of the clumsiest things that you can ever do in a nice restaurant, in my opinion, is to take your roll, rip it in half, and slather the whole thing with butter and gnaw on it. I get it. It is way more efficient to do that, and candidly, if I'm at my parents' house, I do it, but not when you're at a nice restaurant. Proper etiquette is to tear off one bite at a time and butter each bite individually as you eat it. If there is a community butter bowl, take a small bit of butter, put it on the side of your plate from where you will take the butter and put it on your roll. I know it seems time-consuming, and especially if you're hungry, but that's the deal. Caviar service. All right, let's talk caviar service. Caviar, you either love or you don't like it. Very few people are like, eh. If you're like me and you really, really love it and you're in the mood to treat yourself, here's the deal. It's referred to as caviar service. Sometimes it's off menu, so if we're at a really nice restaurant and I don't see it on the menu, I will discreetly ask the server, do you offer caviar service? The caviar is going to be served in a small tin on a bed of crushed ice with typical accompaniments. You'll usually see creme fraiche, chopped egg whites, crumbled egg yolks, red onion, capers, and of course some type of vehicle. It's usually toast points with the crust cut off, bellinis, which are very small, thin little pancakes. I've also had them served with tiny little light waffles. I didn't particularly care for that because I felt that the waffle overwhelmed the delicateness? Why can't I think of the word? It was too heavy for delicate caviar. The caviar itself is always going to be served with a mother of pearl spoon. That is the only utensil that you want to use with caviar service, and it's done for 2 reasons. Number 1, metal, especially stainless steel, can impart metallic taste to the caviar. It alters the natural flavor, while the mother of pearl is neutral and isn't going to affect the taste of the caviar. Number 2 is texture. Mother of pearl spoons are much more gentle than a stainless steel and will prevent the caviar eggs from being crushed or broken, thus protecting the texture of the caviar. To eat it, here's what I do. Break off a small piece of toast. Remember, it's just like our bread. We're not slathering the whole thing. Put on a little creme fraiche, a dollop of your caviar, and any of the accompaniments that you like. I generally like all of them. Caviar has a very mellow, briny saltiness to it. It's very soft on the tongue, on the palate. It's just delicious. I really love it, which is why I will splurge on it. My husband is kind of like, meh, so I don't share. Okay, how to eat oysters on the half shell. Oysters on the half shell usually come half a dozen to an order and are served in their own brine on a bed of crushed ice. They're also served with traditional accompaniments like lemon wedges, a mignonette sauce, which is a vinegar-based sauce with shallots. It'll also have cocktail sauce, hot sauce, and usually horseradish, which is my personal favorite. They'll provide a small fork for loosening the oyster from its shell in case it hasn't been shucked correctly, and a small spoon for helping yourself to some of the accompaniments. To eat it, I always use the small fork to make sure that the oyster has been shucked properly. Otherwise, when you go to slurp the oyster, that's what it's called, slurping the oyster, sometimes if it hasn't been shucked right, it's still connected to the shell, and then you end up, it's just kind of awkward. I pick up the oyster, I make sure it's dislodged, I put a squeeze of lemon, a little bit of horseradish, and just slurp it down. Now that doesn't mean you want to make a slurping sound, just let it slide into your mouth. After each oyster, place it shell side down into the crushed ice. This is not only proper etiquette, but it just makes it easier to see how many you have left, and it also notifies the server when you're finished with your oysters. Number 16, this is a bonus, serve others first. Whether you're reaching for the bread basket or for more water, it's always most courteous to offer those on either side of you bread or water before serving yourself. Something as simple as, may I offer you some bread, to the person on your left and your right. If you're just dining with another partner, offer that person first. Ladies, of everything, the most important rule to remember is this: don't overthink it. Class and etiquette really boils down to nothing more than being kind and courteous and making other people feel good. Choose 2 to 3 of these tips that you find are most easy to implement and go from there. Last tip, don't miss my next video. Chic and cozy Athleta outfits perfect for travel and holidays. All right, ladies, have a great week and I'll see you in a couple days.
While we stand and watch a choir perform all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas